Welcome to Linguistics. This channel is about all things linguistic, discussing topics in phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, semantics, and sociolinguistics. So let's see what we've got today. We already introduced the concept of phonological processes. The most common phonological process, which is assimilation, but today I'm going to talk about dissimilation. Assimilation is becoming more similar. Dissimilation is becoming less similar. Dissimilation is less common than assimilation in the languages of the world. Okay? So it means if sounds are to undergo any change through a phonological process, it's more likely to be assimilation than dissimilation. Okay, so like it's intuitive to think that, okay, when two sounds appear next to each other contiguously or close to each other but not necessarily next to each other, that is non-contiguously, they will become more similar. It's quite intuitive, but it's kind of like curious, like why is there dissimilation, right? So why sounds become less similar to each other? Okay, there's different reasons, of course. We said assimilation happens because when you string sounds together in a linear fashion, and especially when we speak faster and faster, it would be more easier for sounds to be more similar so that speech can flow more naturally and rapidly, right? But dissimilation happens, like imagine if sounds are too similar to each other. So if I'm speaking and I speak so fast that all sounds are becoming so similar to each other, they may become so similar to each other that you may have a hard time distinguishing the sounds from each other or the words from each other. Then probably I would have to slow down. So yes, overlap and ease of communication are reasons for assimilation to happen, but there's another thing which is also important in communication, which is distinction, right? So you want to be able, especially the hearer, needs to be able to distinguish the sounds to a minimum degree so that they can distinguish words and sounds from each other. So generally we need to create a balance between a fluency and distinctiveness, but sometimes for the purposes of clear communication and distinction of sounds, dissimilation happens, which means that two sounds which are similar, already similar to each other, they may be totally similar, they may be the same sounds, or they may be partially similar, they will move in the opposite direction of assimilation. They will become less similar to each other, or you can say they will be more distinct from each other. This phonological process, which is dissimilation, occurs when two nearby sounds become less similar to each other in one or more features. And I said nearby because it includes adjacent and non-adjacent sounds, contiguous and non-contiguous sounds. The direction of dissimilation may be forward, progressive, or backward, regressive. Well, it kind of sounds a bit abstract at this point, right? So I have to give some specific examples to clarify this. In ancient Greek, we know that modern Greek is derived from ancient Greek. So it means the Greek language has a version which is in ancient times and it's ancient Greek, but the modern Greek language is a continuation of that language, but it's a different language. It has changed in many ways. But of course, the changes have been systematic. So some of the changes are, of course, phonological. It means ancient Greek has undergone systematic phonological changes, as a result of which we have the modern Greek phonological forms. So, for example, whenever in ancient Greek you have a fricative sequence, so these are the fricative sounds, just for reference. So whenever you have fricative in ancient Greek, in modern Greek it becomes fricative stop. The word for cheap in ancient Greek is phtinos. It becomes phtinos in modern Greek. So as you can see, the ancient Greek version has fa and tha, look, which I've color coded. You see, fa is here and tha is here. Both are fricatives. It has become phtinos. So you see, in the first word, I color coded both in green to show that they are the same color in the sense that they share the similarity. They are similar, same color, same feature. They're not totally similar, but they're partially similar. They are similar in their fricativeness, in their fricative feature. So that's why I color coded both in the same color, which is green. But then in the modern Greek form, I colored the second sound differently, showing that it has become different from fa. So in the modern Greek version, the second sound is not a fricative anymore. It has lost its similarity to fa, which was a fricative feature, and it has become a plosive, which is also a stop. Okay? How is it progressive? It's progressive in the sense that the dissimilation happened in the second sound. It means the source of dissimilation is the first sound because the second sound became less similar to the first sound. So the second sound was influenced. Therefore, the direction of dissimilating influence is from the first sound to the second sound. We have two sounds which are similar in a feature. Then the second sound becomes less similar to the first sound. It means the second sound has changed. The second sound has been influenced and become dissimilar. Therefore, the source of dissimilation, the direction of dissimilation is from first sound to second sound, hence progressive. And it is contiguous because the two sounds are adjacent. They are next to each other, contiguous. Okay? In English, this is an example in English. The word, the second month of the year it's February, right? February. But it is often pronounced as February. Okay, what is happening here? You see ra and ra, so they are actually like totally similar. But what has happened here is, as I will show, they have become less similar. Let's look at the chart here. You see both are voiced alveolar approximant. One of them changes its place of articulation to palatal. So one of them becomes palatal, the other one stays alveolar. So the first ra, the first voiced alveolar approximant, becomes voiced palatal approximant. So every feature stays the same except one feature. As you can see here, the first sound becomes less similar to the second sound, and that's hence the red color This is an example of, it's non-contiguous, of course. Well, non-contiguous means at a distance. It means there will be two sounds which are not adjacent to each other, but similar to each other. And one of them is going to lose its similarity to the first one. And in this case, the sound that is going to lose its similarity should be the first sound, not the second, because it's regressive, right? Because in the case of progressive, we defined it as the second sound losing its similarity. But here, because it's regressive, so the first sound is going to become less similar. Thanks for your time and attention, and see you again soon.